Hello, hello, welcome in to another episode of First Look as we have a look at the Airbus A350, specifically taking a look at the A350-900 here in Fukuoka, headed to Haneda, Tokyo. Little spin of the camera here to start, just to say that you probably notice some choppiness with the frames. This is a large airport, custom airport. Doesn't really bother me or seem abnormal for a complex airliner. Getting about 35 frames, 40 frames on my system, which is fairly dated at this point. So take it with a grain of salt. Inside, of course, much better. In flight will be much better. And as we get into Tokyo, you'll probably see that frame rate loss again, which again is pretty standard. Um, I am not going to use traffic injection or ATC for this flight just because I want it to read and feel like as little interference as possible, so you can get the kind of the true feel of what to expect performance-wise. Um, so empty everything tonight. In fact, due to the time, I'm thinking we should probably turn off multiplayer too, because we might run into a horde of people over in Tokyo. So let's go ahead and get that off as well. No interruptions here tonight as we head over to Tokyo. Okay, hopping in. Gonna go straight in with external power. This is gonna be a fairly quick run through of things. If you want something slower or a particular system or something, just let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to. I will probably do other. Well, I will definitely do other content with this plane. Get all of our pumps. Batteries actually should have gone first. We're going to put our IRs to nav to begin with, and then we'll take a look at the tablet, so I'll walk you through some of the options as she gets heated up here. So flight op system, it has full SimBrief import. You can also just hand type these things. Again, I'm going to be doing SimBrief imports and things to make everything go a little faster on this first one, but if you want to see something more in depth, you want to see things typed in or messed with or changed, just let me know and I'm happy to go back and do it. So we are Japan Airlines 306 headed to Tokyo from Fukuoka. All of that checks out, so we're good there. Everything's kind of loaded in. Now we go to load sheet. I just want to take care of a couple things before that. I usually like to get a little bit ahead and start the APU. Probably get a couple lights on up here before I start, because once I dive into transferring things between the tablet and the make do, things start to get bogged down, and then I'm behind on the APU start, and then we can't kind of get rolling on a decent schedule here. Let's get these going to auto. We're going to arm the emergency exit lights, and auto, that's going to be good enough. Oh. See, now I don't know if that feels like something that's programmed in that's supposed to happen. And I don't know why, but all of that should come back with the APU, which you can hear out here, actually. I probably am so used to just flying through lights that I just turn the beacon on when I'm not supposed to, and in this plane, for whatever reason, it's like linked to something that kills the power. So I don't know if it automatically pulls external power away from the plane. Again, I'm probably doing it out of order, so don't think that that's like a bug or something. It's just my light, my flow for lighting is not up to spec. I just kind of fly through things. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna start doing our load stuff over here in the tablet. So SimBrief import button on the upper right. and then everything kind of comes in. You can look at it, you can compare it to your own plan. Just make sure your units are in the same. It will tell you, there's a ribbon along the top that will tell you units do not match plan or whatever. So just rerun your plan to the correct units. I'm in pounds. That's what I have it defaulted to. And I'll get into some of the other options that you can default to in the tablet as well. So we'll set our zero fuel weight. You should see like a little bit of a bounce on the nose, something indicating that weight has been added, and then set fuel, which should have, yeah, so there I had to click twice, and that's something just to note. I really think in any plane that has some sort of touch screen, like the Dreamliners, there's some other ones too, things where you sometimes may have to click onto it and then click the button, right? Just make sure that you're getting some sort of feedback. You know, check your fuel levels, check your weights, that kind of thing, just to make sure you didn't click, or make sure that when you thought you were clicking, it actually registered. Okay. I think that's where we want to be for now, over here. Now we'll jump over to the FMS. So we got some basic details here, and I like to, my kind of shortcut is just to click FMS1 again. That's not FMS1. There we go. And that kind of gives you to that classic looking screen where you need to put in, you know, your departure, your arrival, that your route number, flight number, that kind of thing. Now, when I do company flight plan request, this button here, that will pull in the stuff from SimBrief, which then you can check and verify. Should do everything including CI, but we'll have a look. Yeah, so cost index 51, looks good. Cruising altitude 410, also correct. Got the right airports, econ, cruise temp, that all checks. IRs, if you want to check the status of your IRs, I think it'll tell you the time left on them too. Yeah, so available in 1 minute, so we'll get those shortly. Don't really need them right now. There's some other planning elements we can do. It's telling me to align IRs. If you want to clear this highlighted text and stuff, just clear, and it will have a history of all the messages it portrayed or displayed to you. You can just keep clearing clear message to go through them all. Some of them you may want to read. Some are more important than others. Okay, so we'll hit into departure. We're taking the Yocat 5 to Yanks off of runway 34 today, and I don't think wind has changed significantly. Yeah, so we're good. So runway 34, we're going to be on the Yokats. Now, here's, if you are at an airport that has more SIDS or stars than are in the list, you may be like me and try to click, drag, scroll, do a bunch of stuff. So what you want to do is come down to this scroll wheel in the plane and literally go through, and that will get you down the list. So in this case, Yocat 5 is the bottom one, so I don't need to scroll at all. But if I had ones below that, you would need to scroll this wheel, and it would just keep going down the list. So, you know, multiple ways to select, right? I can click this and it will select it, or I can, you know, click enter down here and use the controls down here, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I don't think there's another plane that I know of that has a scroll wheel that's functioning in it. So, I did like that. Transition is Yanks. And we can go ahead and temporary flight plan that. You can verify here with whatever third-party thing you're using. Maybe using little NavMav, maybe using Navigraph like I am. And go ahead and insert that. And then we are taking X-Ray Alpha Sierra Victor. Looks like the arrival. Multiple ways to get to the arrival, by the way. I just like to stay in this mode and kind of just do it from there. There are other ways you can go to through PER for a number of different ways to do that. So 3-4 right, we're taking the, I don't think I set up an approach yet, so bear with me while I jump over here and look at transitions. So 3-4, that's an interesting arrival for 3-4. Wonder what the approach looks like. Ah, maybe ILS Yankee 3-4 right from Kaiho will be what we want, and then I'll be able to show you how to delete things as well. So I got 3-4 right. We're going to take the ILS Yankee for 3-4 right via Kaiho, and the star is going to be the X-Ray Alpha Charlie Victor. And here we do get that chance to show you that you need to scroll down. So X-Ray Alpha Charlie Victor. There we go. Boom. And no transition on that. And we're going to go ahead and temp flight plan that. And then we're going to see a repeat, probably a discontinuity and a repeat. So we're looking for our transition for the approach, which is Kaiho. And there it is. It appears twice, right? So we want to get rid of this and bring this Kaiho all the way up, which in the Boeing system, you may know is quite simple. I would just click this and paste it over that. In this system, click and delete. And there may be a shorthand way to do this. This is just the way I deal with the Airbuses. Just making sure I'm deleting everything and the discontinuities between. So I'm going to take the Kaiho altitude for the approach because that's the one I want to hit, even though they are the same here. I want to tell it to transition to that approach rather than having it be a part of the star. Okay, so that should have brought everything into focus. You can go into plan mode and check everything. I don't know if that's by clicking or... I actually don't know how to manage it through here. Stepping. I don't know where step is for plan mode. Oh, okay. I just go through. The only issue is here. Probably widen my aperture a little bit. I don't know where individual steps are. See, because these are multiple steps. I mean, these are going multiple steps. I'm sure that exists somewhere. Anyway, you can go through your plan just like you would on any other Airbus. Okay, so our flight plan's set. So we want to go for perf now, which is going to bring us back over here to our tablet. By the way, the tablet for the 1000, I believe, is set over here, and this is another nav display. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I flew it once, and I seem to recall that kind of the panel position looked different. So sync button will sync. Oh, got to select my airport. RJFF. And there's no kind of enter. You just, you can go into select runway. And now I can sync weather. And you can also sync SimBrief here. And then sync FMS should... Oh no, I didn't compute speeds. Duh. So, okay, so there are my V speeds. And then I can send those to FMS. And just to confirm that, you will see the same speeds over here in yellow, and then you can confirm your takeoff speed. So everything's kind of set. Your trim, all that stuff is all preset at this point. A really good opportunity. It was just a good friend of mine through the VA. I was just showing Navigraph. He has been a long time little nav map user, which I respect and all. But Navigraph as SimBrief as it is free, right? So Navigraph services, you want the map and everything like that. That there's a subscription cost to that, but Just so you are aware, SimBrief is. And that will give you the code and everything else you need to link with these planes, regardless of the fact that you don't have a moving map with it, right? So something to really consider, since so many of these planes have it built in. You know, do yourself a favor, especially if you're in a rush. So I'm gonna clear this info, and oops. No. Actually, well, no. I'll show you that later. Fuel and load. I don't know. I don't know if that will send over, actually. I think you need to type that. So 378.1, and these planes will get really picky if you don't set this stuff. So it's not like some of those where it's like an empty shell plane that has like really basic systems and you can just kind of get away with doing almost nothing. Okay, I wasn't typing there, I guess. 30. It's really just 30. Block fuel got 24.5. Not very much at all. And for packs, we're carrying 304 packs today. So, okay, so we're good with fuel and load. This is a good time for two things. When you click into a field in this plane, on your tablet, for example, nothing, and a banner comes up that kind of explains this, but it doesn't really do exactly what it says. So, unless you finish typing in that field, or click enter, or click another button on this, you won't be able to move anywhere. And to the point that sometimes if you do it in the wrong sequence, it can feel like you're totally stuck. So just understand, like, go through a page, click the buttons you need to click, and then get out of it. And then move on to the next thing. It's not one where you like, oh, I'm going to put in a couple digits over here, and oh wait, then I forgot this, and then I go back here, right? It's going to get really frustrated if you get caught in that. So finish a page and move on. Is what is the best I can tell you. Similarly, if you are using the click function and entering things, like right now I may have actually just deleted what was in there. So I better type it again, 378.1. Enter. It will auto move on to the next field that you need to fill in, which is great. But sometimes it doesn't catch, and like the feedback on these keys is almost negligible. So you're not really, you could be down in here kind of at this zoom level and just thinking everything's fine, and then you get up here and like half it's deleted, or you're in the wrong field, or you clicked out at some point, right? So just track that. And there's only so much realism you can do in a sim when you're clicking a mouse, right? So I say cut them some slack on that one. I don't know if this is, I don't know if this will work. Company wind received. And if I insert, I guess it pulled some in. Well, yeah, I guess I don't have history, so it pulled in what it got. So that's all good. And lastly, init is all good, so we're all good there. So again, I like to just use this as my home button. One more thing before we continue. You have ATC comm here. If you want to connect to one of these networks, you can do things, I think, like PDC and those kind of things you can do through this system. And then surveillance. Oops, see, I clicked the wrong one. There we go. So this is where you can find your mode for your squawk, TCAS and all that stuff, right? So I have TCAS on standby. I can do TARA, right? That's mode C. So just make sure. I got caught on network, not realizing what I was doing, and it took me a while to find that surveillance menu. So there you go. We're pretty much ready to go at this point, and APUs are on. APU bleed, I was almost expecting to be like over here, but it's right up above probe heat. So obviously make sure that's going, and we are good to start engines at this point. I'm going to go ahead and just put in our preset altitude. We're going to just fly VNAV straight up to 410. I'm not going to do anything fancy on this flight. And you can hear the bleed air starting to pump as we get it going onto the little fans into the cabin. So we'll come up with 2. And I don't know if I'm going to have a view on this one. Not a very good one. Got some terminal in the way. I could use a different chase drone, I guess. Something about being locked in to a rotational view makes me feel like it could be a stationary camera somewhere. I don't know. I'm just weird, I guess. I don't have all those preset views and stuff. So, and I think there's already a mod out for kind of how this tip behavior is. It's a bit weird, like the texturing is a bit weird, but I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I should note, probably should have noted at the top of this, I am no Airbus expert. I'm no A350 expert. I'm not a real Airbus pilot. I'm just a sim enthusiast, aviation enthusiast who likes to fly fake planes for fake virtual airlines. But I do think this plane's quite nice. I think they worked on some noise imbalances, which I'll talk about at takeoff for sure. But the nose gear and just gear in general was way overpowering. That was very noticeable, even as someone who's not very familiar with these particular planes. And you'll hear it again here on this episode, but it won't be as pronounced as it was in version 1.0. You just have to take my word for that one. Had to turn the sounds down. I read one comment that said you could fly this plane without your IRs being aligned on autopilot. And I was like, how did you even get a plan? How did you even read your plan? Also, why would you even take off? I don't know. I just have so many questions with those kind of comments. It's like, are you just setting out to disprove a product or something? I don't know. I got 3016 and my so I got stuck again. So when I'm clicking tab to open flow, I'm tabbing through the menu in the tablet. See, so those kind of things, right? You might think you got locked out. So just make sure that you're out, right? So I'm still not out, right? So I can't move around the cabin. But if I click tab again, I should be out. So receive stations, blah blah blah. We're started. We can push and get our APU off. And which way are we pushing? I need a map. It's happening. It is happening. We're going to push nose to the right, and push is all through here as well. We want, what do we want? We're going to go to menu, ground. Oh shoot, I didn't go through all the stuff. Let me try to fly through some of this really quick. So pushback's through here, chalks ground equipment through here. You can do all your doors as well. And then just quickly running through options, all sorts of options in here. Some of the key ones for me, if you want to link your instruments so you don't have to keep going over to the FO side to change things like altimeter and stuff, you can link that here. You can also not link it. Rudder controller controls tiller. Okay, if you are a plug-and-play type, like I am, you will want rudder control tiller on, because your movement of the rudder also controls the tiller automatically. Auto tiller disconnect. I don't know if this. I'm not quite sure what that refers to. It may be when you're airborne, it's off, and then you have to turn it on again, or I don't know. I have not tried new display types. You can also change the weathering of the aircraft, none of which I'm willing to do while I'm doing a flight. Auto day-night charts you can do. Weight units is pretty critical, depending on, like, if you like running SimBrief regularly in pounds, then you should choose pounds, regardless, unless you're one of those that needs to fly the exact units the airline flies. Which, I mean, would normally be, there's a great chance that would be kilograms, right? So if that's you, then you just choose kilograms. EFB boot time, you can do all the way from real, which I don't know how many minutes that is, to fast to instant. I have instant, I'm pretty sure that's default. You have camera light, SATCOM, battery types, a bunch of stuff that's not really visible or useful. You can make sharklets long or short, wing hooks on or off, fuel jettisons. And throttle calibration. I have a Turtle Beach yoke and throttle set up. It came basically as needed. Like, I didn't really have to do anything here. The only thing I may do is raise this dead zone a little bit, because for the throttle it can be quite sensitive, and I can bump it out of the detent. Speaking of that, audible thrust detent. This defaults is off. If you are a person who flew the A320, like the fly-by-wire, the Phoenix to a lesser extent because it has hyper-realistic sounds and everything. But if you're used to loud thrust detent, the audible, like, hey, I'm in the right mode, you're going to want that on, because it's almost inaudible if you have it off. You got languages, all sorts of stuff. Volume control, individual volume control, third parties, link to SimBrief, blah, blah, blah. And simulation. So this is a lot of long hauler options. You can tell it to pause 30 X number of miles from top of drop, that kind of stuff. So very cool. Alright, I did not set altimeter because I was still looking at Mercury, looking at let's see, 1021. Okay, at this point we'll push back, and I have parking brake. Push back. There she goes. And I don't know how much space we have back here behind me. We have a good amount of space. Got into that green zone. We're going to be taking off from down there. And I realize at this point, it's been 30 minutes on the ground. I feel like that's pretty good, actually. I think we'll have, I think airtime could potentially be under an hour. If not pretty close to an hour. We'll try to push it as best I can. I do have some fuel limitations. Should have probably bumped that up given the fact that I've been talking since engines have been lit up, but here we are. I will try to remember to do some time stamping. No promises. You're watching this on a very busy week. So we'll see. Alright, that's going to be great for us. And let's roll. Do not need much throttle at all to get going. This thing has plenty of power. One of the things I like to do at this point, and this just comes from flying the Flight Sim Studio E-Jets. I'm not sure how much a difference it'll make, but if anything out of habit, the leftmost dimmer switch on these displays will go to 0. So either out of distraction or out of the hopes it'll save a few frames, it's kind of become a habit for me. So we'll go ahead and dim those all the way to 0. Frankly, you could probably get away with it in the center console too. It's just, I don't know, feels less balanced if I make the center black. Could certainly do it on the left tablet too. And again, no promises. I don't think I've done like a comparative with and without on those, but it's just kind of out of habit. But the Flight Sim Studio E-Jets, it was, I mean, that was a really game changer when they published that little note for the workaround for performance. Definite difference. I still do it to this day in those planes, although those have improved a lot in performance. I'll probably do an Are We There Yet episode on those planes at some point. Still had some issues transitioning from arrivals and approaches. I should give the volume a good boost here when we turn and burn. Auto throttle, so no different than any other Airbus. Actually, I'll pull this back to normal. Get that locked up and then hit the auto brake, which should default to max or RTO anyway. So yeah, use this plane, I would say, if you're on a, I'm on a 30 gen, I'm on a 3080 OG card. You know, if you're kind of on that level or potentially below, like a 20 series, I would say use this with injection, traffic injection at your own risk. Anything major that's going to reduce frames significantly is going to make this plane really hard to fly, performance-wise. I have it, you saw I basically cleaned everything out, and I'm flying basically as stock as possible to preserve what I can. It's a 9,200 foot runway, and we should be up in probably 6,300 of that. She's got oomph, definitely. It's probably my favorite looking Airbus aircraft. I have to say it is pretty attractive, and the beacon I never turned back on. So there's that. Let's go ahead and push the plane sounds for you as we turn and burn out of Fukuoka. Next stop, Tokyo. Enjoy.
1.
And it was that quick. Was that gear sound? One, I'm just trying to get that throttle locked in. We don't want kind of notices about decelerated climb or anything like that. I'll jump out. It's probably going to be flashy and loud, so watch your ears. Get some shots over the bay. And bring that volume to a more tame level. Nice departure. Transition here is, I don't remember what transition is in Japan. $14,000. We're be catching a pretty nice tailwind here. Currently got us at hour 28. We're not even close to cruise speed, so we're gonna be shaving minutes here pretty soon. And this is in that ballpark of any of your heavies in terms of cruise speed. So we're gonna be probably an econ around Mach 0.87 with the option to push it a little bit, which I might do if it's within fuel range. This is, by the way, the reason I chose this route. I don't fly a whole lot in Japan or Asia in general, but this is the shortest route I found with an A350 of any variant type. Average flight length for an A350K, 1K, is I think 7 hours. So I started thinking about how I could time-lapse something, and then I forgot about the A350-9, and I was like, oh, there's probably something reasonable, maybe a 2-hour flight, and this was the shortest I found, which going in this direction is about an hour, a little over an hour. Now, because of the time on the ground, of course, it's going to be longer than that, but as we go ahead and go standard, you'll see that linked controls there. Very important note, if you have any sort of issue with maintaining your detents, you will not get this plane to See, so declimb, I feel like that means decelerated climb. I feel like I don't want to see that there. I'm talking about the upper left of this display here. I think I want to see nothing there. But for sure I will know when I settle in and I either am or am not matching speeds. Like right now I'm a little short of the speed mark. It should be rock solid. I'm not sure if I am pushed past. I feel like that's the D10 right there. I'm just kind of looking at it. Feels centered on that side. It's roughly centered on that side, if anything. If you come back a little bit here, so that's centered. Now it says asymmetrical thrust. Alright, so anyway, you can handle, again, that's kind of what I was talking about, the dead zone with my throttle calibration. So I might widen that a little bit. But you will know at descent if it's not, and it looks like we're capped at 20,000 here. You cannot get this to descend if you're not on the right D10. I had to literally go throttle idle to even get the plane to go down. Now it has me at cruise. Of course, maybe the cutoff was YOCAT for 20,000, so I've gone back up. Yep, it was YOCAT. Up and out of the Fukuoka area. Head east. You like what you're seeing today, this weekend, consider joining the Patreon and coming on to the Discord to discuss more aviation stuff, maybe join some group flights that we have going for the virtual airline. And I have been using this a good amount for those operations, even though it's not freight. I've just been substituting it because it's been nice to fly something different. Always fun to learn a new plane. People with a lot more aviation experience than me in the Discord, sharing all sorts of content, videos, photos, both real life and in the sim. And we usually got group flights going a couple times a week. Coming soon is the St. Patrick's Day annual group flight, which has always been big for us. Many do not know that I'm half Irish, and it's actually a pretty big deal for my family, so we usually get together the closest Saturday to it, which in this case will be Saturday the 15th, so definitely a good time to come check out what's going on. Subject to change, of course, with the craziness of life, but that was the vote by 63% of the Discord was for the evening of Saturday the 15th of March. And then I believe I will have pushed the third to last leg of the Milk Run episode 5 coming out the week after this airs, and then I think I will have a Pain Freight Group release for the A300 coming at you a week after that. And then we'll probably finish the milk run and then rotate some other stuff. I think the F-28 got its last big update before they dropped the F-70 and 100s by Just Flight, and probably want to do an E-Jet thing. Maybe take another look at the Phoenix. Some other things in the hopper. I didn't do the first look of the Tri-Motor by... Oh, what's the name of that company? A strange name. There was a Payware Ford Tri-Motor that I was never really attracted to the Tri-Motor, but this they knocked it out of the park. It's really, really fun, and I think would be nice to do some recreation flights of Jimmy Angel's stuff on his journeys from the States down to Venezuela and back. It is fairly similar in structure to the metal aircraft Flamingo that he flew, only it had one engine versus three for the Tri-Motor. Fuselage and a lot of other things are pretty similar. We're not going to be cruising very long at 410. I'll tell you that. I'm marking 48 minutes into Tokyo from now, and I have some room to go on speed. So I'm getting some bumps here. I think we're headed right back out over water, or the coastline here. So we do have 91 knots of wind on the tail, and we're just over halfway to cruise. So yeah, I would say our time at cruise is going to be maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But you can see just as good as almost any other airliner in the cockpit outside of heavy photogrammetry areas. So pretty happy with that. I think it does have some loss on longer flights. I believe I did a flight in this from Auckland to Sydney, and it was definitely chunkier on the other end, but Sydney is a heavy PD area, so I don't know how much stake I can put into that. If it's flyable and landable, I'm happy. Like, not like the old Phoenix days or some of the other really poorly performing planes. Certainly not in that category. Is it as solid as the Phoenix is now and the PMDGs and things like that? No, I would say, but definitely good enough. Watch me eat my words on approach into Tokyo. Bound to happen. Could probably get some information for the destination and whatnot in. Hop on over to approach, get everything keyed in. So Tokyo right now, seeing winds 35015. Outside air temp 12. QNH is 1010. And we're going to be using radio minimums, which is probably going to be at 200, as it is a large airport that's close to sea level, but yep, 200, 220 baro for the mins. And that's it, really. I did want to check on, and I have to remember where this is, so where is nav aids, I think? Yes. Okay, so ILS down here. If you choose an ILS approach, it should auto-populate this stuff in here. If you did not, there's you ought to check your arrival and approach pages. Something is likely off. And as I said at the top of this, if you do something like leave your weights off or something, or leave something else unprogrammed, you will hurt. It will hurt you in this plane, and frankly any Airbus really, as they're simulated. Probably every plane would not let you basically do anything without doing that anyway, but so still yet to determine if this is, I mean, it's trying to maintain this mark. I just don't, I'm not used to decline. So maybe that was what, let's see, if I go into perf. Yeah, auto derated. Yeah, so that's, I think that's normal then. It was just freaking me out because I normally just see CLB, I think, over there, not decel, derated climb. So we're just moseying along to 410. And a few ways that I could, you know, make this go faster. I could, you know, tell it to maintain a speed that's much, I could tell it to go up at 270 or something, and we could get there much faster. But I'm just kind of following what was given to me. But at this rate, again, at 410, I mean, we're going to have a very short cruise. We already have 125 knots of wind on the tail, almost directly, so we're grounding 616, and we're not cruising yet, so. Glad I did not choose to do Tokyo to Fukuoka. That would have been a 2.5-hour flight. We would be grounding like 414. We, the first world tour we did way back on the Arctic Churn channel, if you happen to remember that, if you were around or if you heard about it, we did a couple of world tours. The first one, we started in Paine going westbound, went all the way through Alaska, the Aleutians, Japan, which kind of brought this story to mind, but we were going the opposite direction, even at low altitude, and I mean, I would do whole streams and just complete one flight, and I wasn't always doing airliners. So I think that one in particular, I was flying a 208 westbound in Japan at like 8,000 feet, and it was I think it was 150, 200 nautical mile flight. It took hours and hours. I mean, it was crazy. We wrapped all the way down to, if you want to see the map, actually, I can, just let me know in comments and I can share that with you. It's still public. We went all the way down through the Philippines, through New Guinea, all the way down, hit Antarctica actually after New Zealand, then came back up through Tasmania, Perth, Indonesia, Himalayas, India, all the Middle East, did a stopover in Africa, did basically the whole continent. Actually, no, we went through Southern Europe, then did Africa, then hopped to South America, did all of South America, and then came all the way back up the west coast to home after Ushuaia. No, actually, we did Ushuaia and then went to Antarctica again and then came all the way back up the west coast. So yeah, it was long. It was a 18-month world tour, I think. But I will never forget flying westbound at Japan in the winter. Brutal. That was a tour that saw us. There was a really old. It was the, man, what was that called? The Power, not Power Up. Project Megaplane, Project something. The PMP, anyways. The PMP A330 was like the hottest thing. I remember we flew that actually down to Japan, down to Tokyo from Kamchatka, and flew it again, I think a New Zealand version, something like that. And by the end of that tour, that was a long forgotten plane. I mean, everyone, I think at that point we were starting to gear up for planes like the Phoenix. I think the Inibuilds A310 came out. I mean, I remember flying the Widgeon, the G44, and thinking it was one of the best add-on planes, which I don't even think I have it anymore. But just even in those 18 months, I mean, Flight Sim 2020 just completely changed. Great memories there. And I guess I should have mentioned at the top, this is Flight Sim 2020. As I said, I will work in some 2024 check-ins, probably largely in career mode. Only real thing I've found of value over there for the time being. And probably the next time I log in, my company will go broke because of the amount of backed insurance charges that I have. I will try to get, and I can't remember if I mentioned this, I will try to get timestamps in on this one for those browsing to figure out certain aspects. I think I really only need them early on, maybe a late one for approach or something, but try to do that. But yeah, let me know what you all think of the A350, and let me know what else you're looking forward to seeing on the channel. And I'll see what I can come up with. I'm always getting ideas from those in the Discord as well. Forgot to run this flight for the VA in Flylats. If you want to join the VA, you can go to flylat.net and you can create an account and click the join company button. And at that point, you should probably hit me up in a comment section or reply to some post somewhere so I know that it's just kind of a blind system. So I just get a notification of whatever your username is, which maybe doesn't even link to anything that you have going on in your online profile or whatever. And so I don't add random people to the company. So if I have to have known that it's someone who's watched something or someone who's in the Discord or whatever, sometimes those names don't correlate, so I just skip over. But we get applications daily to the VA. All the communication happens in the Discord, so it's kind of hard to be in it if you're not figuring out what the routes are, of which there are many. So Pain Freight Group is in Samoa right now, and I think the vote for the VA was to continue. Let's see. It was another tie, so looks like my options are Samoa to Honolulu direct or Samoa to Nadi to South America. And I'm probably leaning toward the second option, just because I ultimately kind of want to get to South America. Honolulu puts us a little out of the way. I mean, not really. I guess, I mean, you go Honolulu to like Mexico or even SoCal, LAX or something, and then continue south. But I kind of wanted to start south and work our way back north to Paine ultimately. But it's been a minute since we've done some freight into South America, so I definitely wanted to stop there. This Cargo World Tour has kind of started in Maracaibo, went all the way north up to Alaska, and then came back down to, I think, Florida, and then started hopping. We went back down all the way to the south end of South America, and then went across to Africa, Middle East, and so on, all the way through Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, and now Samoa. So we're in striking distance of completing that. And then there's been some rumblings of maybe in some sort of old school tour or some scaled down, maybe not so much pushing the pace with larger planes, but so I'm thinking about stuff like that. We're going to reset for our base altitude here. I think for platform we want 1500 ultimately, and frankly we could probably trust this plane to just get us all the way down there. So I'm not going to put in any other, obviously if I had control or whatever I would be putting in some sort of an intermediate altitude, but for the first show, this is just fine. So at the 160 range, you'll see top drop coming in at about that 120 mark right now. So, 10 minutes. And another 10 to get down, 10 to 15. Add 5 for the approach. This is rather straight in off of the arrival, so nothing too crazy. Shouldn't be, we're not doing any sort of pattern or teardrop, so it is caked out here though. It has turned into a complete layer. I don't think we'll see much of anything until it says few at 3,000, broken at 5. So winds did change gusting 34 now in Tokyo, so This is going to be an interesting approach. I want to stay locked on until just above minimums probably. This, and I don't know how much you'll see on this particular flight with an ILS approach, but she can be a handful hand flying. And I still haven't gotten used to the movements and the delay times, but it feels like I need to be more on the, like the MD-11, MD-82 side of things, where I'm trying to anticipate very slight movements to the stick in order to get it straightened out. I should actually probably, the wind updated 340 at 24, so I should definitely, that's definitely enough to account for here. And the temp did change by a degree as well. Altimeter is the same, so everything else is good. That's coming straight down the runway, so it's gonna be a pretty slow. But again, it's only glide slope. It's only active from 4.4 miles out from the runway, so not that long. It's actually really tight for a major airport. Some of these glide slopes are. And localizer pads are 20 miles out. Think about like Istanbul, Denver, some of those. You're established way, way before. Yeah, I don't think I've flown into Haneda in years in the sim. This is just the default bespoke Haneda scenery from Sobo itself. So I wonder in the new sim if this has like the full walk around mode and everything. That I could feel that getting on my nerves with larger planes because it just doesn't feel like, I get the point is to feel real. Seems like something you should exclude for airliners. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's a pretty big time sink, I think. And you had to interact with some things outside in some planes, but not in others. I think it was the what was that Airbus that I did a flight? The military cargo. Which I was considering the best plane, the A400M, right? Yeah. That I was potentially considering the best plane in 24 defaults. I don't have any of the upgrades to that sim, so for what's given, I thought that was probably the best thing I could find. But I think you had to remove some stuff outside, which just seemed crazy to me. So, assuming detents and everything are good, I should just be able to pull this and push to be on the profile. And we'll be set. Got us, as the bird flies, 10 minutes at this speed out from Tokyo. Obviously we won't be at this speed forever, so again, you know, closer to 20 maybe, but still made, in my opinion, great time. Air time about 55 minutes. Spent about 32, 33 on the ground, which again, normally if I'm not talking people through things, I could trim that to about 15. It just, again, the biggest thing is just making sure you get the APU going early, because everything else just kind of flows between the tablet and the FMS. So. But yeah, love the profile here. We can turn on a little bit of terrain. Not a whole lot to see on it at the moment, but if we zoomed out, we might be able to see. Let's see, there's Tokyo, there's the bay. I don't know that. Where is Fuji? It's off to my left up here. I think this might be Fuji. I don't know. Maybe this is. Weather. Some patches. We monitor that as well. Most of the stuff here functions very well, in my opinion. Again, I'm not someone who has all the answers to Airbus or anything like that. In fact, Airbus usually not super interested in flying in the first place, but I have to say that I'm pretty impressed. And the things that are slight annoyances, I'm choosing not to focus on, because I think at the end of the day you can do that with any plane, like the people who complained about the Mewtwo not being true to sound. or true-to-life sounds. And I was kind of in the back corner of the room saying, do you really want real Mewtwo sounds? Because you're going to need earplugs inside of your headset. Certain complaints to me, they just don't make sense. It's like, go to an airfield and sit in a plane, or, you know, observe, do some plane spotting or something. Gonna be a pretty big correction here as we turn to the left. The wind is just so strong still. Tokyo went back up to 12,350 at 16, so we had one more correction. And 12 degrees. Altimeter did not move. And that should be our last one. I do think we just missed top of drop. Let's get back onto profile. Just gonna have us down like at 4,000 feet a minute for a second because we missed it slightly. Everything's joined up nicely. We'll reach 1500, looks like just a couple nautical miles short of the turn. So at this point we're headed up into that max range here. I think we are just about ready to catch the profile again, this green dot. But I could introduce some brake to give us a little help. So I'm going to do that. And then it will bark at me when I leave it out too long, inevitably. Wow, it's really, okay, that's, I don't think that's a safe vertical speed, frankly. And it shouldn't push past this mark, so it should start to come up now, which it is. I mean, we only missed it by... What did we miss it by? 2.5 nautical miles? It's actually kind of surprising to me. Almost like something didn't join in the plan altitudes. 1500 at Kirby. We're just about at XAC. 21.9. Yeah, so we're only like 2,000 feet high here. We should catch up really quick, like in the next minute for sure. But I think standard is just below about 2,800 feet a minute or something. Maybe 3,200. Here we go. Yeah, there's our green dot. And at this point we can... Oh, whoa, turbulence. We can take some brake out at this point. Get back on. Getting close to transitioning. Don't think we're going to need the braking in. There's no comment about... Yeah, I have to use a closer weather station probably. Okay, yeah, here we go. So yeah, looking broken. No, it still needs some brake. So 1010. There she is. Pretty cool shot. So now it's probably going to yell at me for the brake. And now actually I should keep that out. I'm going to try to get into flaps range. hopefully no Tokyo drift this evening. $129. And Tokyo is right out there. Let's see. Right out there. Early sunset. Like we're maintaining 6,000 for a bit. Kaiho I think is at 4. I think, is that it right in front of us? See any lights or anything that's come active yet, but it's right up here on the coast. What do we have? Oh, we pushed a little bit, so I had a little break. Problem is it's right at that, still holding us at 250, right at the limit there. Only a couple knots to on either side. It'll come down to probably like 180 or so pretty soon. That's it coming in over there. Yep, there it is. $250 feels too fast. We gotta come down in speed. We're about to make the final turn. Probably should have gone in and change that in the computer. You of course can do that. But I'm about ready to kick the gear here and just on the fringe. Our LS going. See, we're a little bit below profile. ILS won't hit until we finish off this turn here. Very short glide slope, as I was saying.
2,500.
Thinking like 135. Don't want any surprise gusts. Taking us right into stall range or something. Beautiful. Left. I mean, this is really for very poor weather. This is so small. Everything's shrouded out that way. Not a whole lot of mountain shots, but still a pretty picture on final here. It's like a bit of crabbing, a couple of degrees, nothing serious. Get our sounds back up. Gonna be quite a delay on the reverse. You're gonna hear just the way my controls are set up. Feeling high on this, but it's hard to tell because I'm sitting high, so.
$1,000.
Oh, that's feeling just right. So normally, visual, you know, we can release. I'm not really going to touch much of anything until I absolutely have to, because I mean, that is millimeters of input that I'm putting in. Let's turn me a little bit low.
500.
All right, hands on.
$400. $100 above.
See all that movement? I mean, I'm barely moving this. Almost wish I had one of those stupid control cams so you can see how little I'm moving.
Right slope.
100.
Right slope. Right slope.
50.
Right
40.
slope.
30. 20. 10.
195 way off center. Welcome to Canada. I kind of figured that was going to happen.
Auto brake off.
Thank you. And there is your A350 by Inibuilds. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to pull right up here and call it a night. Let me know what you want to see, and please consider joining both Patreon and Discord for more discussion and things to do. I don't even think it's Pushback yet. Too late. I can actually, I don't think I can call it jetway. Oh. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the new subs. And until next time from Tokyo, it's been a pleasure. Thanks to Inibuilds. And thanks to everyone else. Until next time. Whoo!